Welcome in, Bobcat fans, to Week 5 of the Frostburg Sports Awards, and I'm here with Leela Clark from women's soccer, who is our Female Athlete of the Week. Leela, a couple of big wins for you guys against some of the MEC South teams. How would you rate your performance and the team's performance overall?
Our team's overall performance, like all seasons, definitely been like the best. Like, I don't know, 10-0 sounds really good. But no, especially this past week with Wesleyan. Coach Parker said that they were going to be physical, and they definitely were. But I think we handled it well. We passed around them and just played soccer instead of fighting with them. And then against Glenville, they started to get physical too. And towards the end, finishing the 3 goals we did.
Starting off with the win against Wesleyan, and you mentioned that they were a physical team, and there's a lot of physicality in our own team, but we do try to pass it around a bit more. What was, sort of going through your mind and the players' minds when, you started getting those kind of rough and physical challenges and just trying to play your own game?
Yeah, especially in the second half, I think we fought back enough where we weren't getting fouls, but we were standing up for ourselves and not just letting them push us off the ball. Mac she really got fouled, but I think we all took that into consideration, and we protected ourselves after that.
The win against Glenville then, and with Kat Smith scoring inside of 2 minutes, seemed to set it would set the tone for the game. But credit to Glenville that they really fought back and made it a really scrappy game, didn't allow much to happen. What was the team's mentality during the rest of that first half, where wasn't able to get a lot going, but knowing that you had a 1-0 lead to kind of play ahead with?
We kept just saying on the field that we needed to connect it more and that the goal was going to come. We kind of had that mindset all year. Even when we aren't scoring right away, we just know that, for some reason, we all just know that we're going to get more goals. But especially at halftime when we had a talk, we knew to settle it down more. And even though the weather didn't really help, I think we seemed to do that.
For yourself, you scored your first goal of the season from the penalty spot, and you look back at some of our games, and penalties haven't been the greatest for us. We're 1 for 4 going into that, but it seemed like you really just took the ball on your own and were really confident when you placed it down and went to step up. Was anything going through your head with the team's struggles and this was your first penalty of the year, or you just knew in your head that you were going to put it down and finish it?
I really like penalty kicks. I just ever since high school, I've always practiced them, and I feel like if I place it in the corner, it's really hard for a keeper to save it if it's perfectly in the corner. But no, I went up there. I didn't even look at the goalie. I looked at the one corner, I looked at the other, and in that moment, I made a decision, and I just didn't even look at her, so she didn't get in my head.
For yourself personally, as you played the full 90 minutes in the Glenville win, it's the first time you've played all 90 minutes all year. You've been in a role where you switch from one of the wingback spots into the central midfield, and it's a lot of running with those two positions. How have you managed to tactically in your head be able to play both of those pretty different positions for the entirety of the game?
I've normally always been in the center, so I know how to play there. And last year I had to adjust being out wide, and it took a little while to adjust, but I feel now, after playing both for so long, I can switch back and forth. Being out wide is definitely a lot more running because you're playing basically forward when your team has the ball, and then basically defense when your team doesn't have the ball. But it might take a minute or two to actually adjust and recognize what's going on. But after that, it's okay.
Well, we really appreciate you being here. Congratulations on your wins and scoring your first goal of the year. Hopefully we'll see you again on here sometime soon, but until the time being, we really want you guys to keep winning while you're at it.
Well, thank you. And we're going to keep winning.
All right, well, next up, we'll have Leela's coach, Brian Parker, on as our Coach of the Week, so be sure to stay tuned for his interview as well. Back on Week 5 of the Frostburg Sports Awards with Brian Parker from women's soccer. Coach, a couple of big wins for you guys this past week, staying undefeated on the year, still keeping a pretty good goalless streak for the other teams and keeping a clean sheet for yourselves. How would you rate your team's performances?
Well, it was an interesting week. That game down at West Virginia Wesleyan was very concerning. Very athletic team, very physical team. A team that hasn't got some results maybe in some very close games, and so I'm sure that they were up for our game, and they were. And the neutral site and the turf field at the high school, was maybe a little bit of an advantage for us, certainly compared to their campus field. But yeah, I was really happy about how we kind of kept our composure and really tried to play the way we want to play and manage the game pretty well, and obviously got the goal.
Wanted to talk about that game first, and going into it, you had explained to your team, as we talked with Leila Clark earlier, about they're going to bring physicality, they're going to get you off your game, but you guys stuck to your game plan and ended up being Des Mortimer, a nice assist out to Carolyn DeSena, Des's first point on the year actually, and wanted to really talk about her and bring her to the forefront, where she's been an all-round runner and really athletic and gets around the field. Hasn't quite had the final product, but now we're starting to see in the past couple games that she's adding a final product to her game.
So Des Mortimer is just a busy bee, obviously. Great engine is the word I like to use. Honestly, she's so athletic and covers so much ground and plays with so much energy. Her fitness is awesome. She can do a lot in the offensive end of the field for us. Even without the ball, she's very disruptive and just relentless defensively. I mean, I'm really happy about how we defend in the front half of our team, frankly, and she's a big reason for that. Clearly, it's nice that she cashed in finally and got on the scoreboard and scored again, in the second game. So it was a matter of time. We have players, of course, who are, for different reasons, going to, get on the scoreboard or earn an assist or a goal here and there, and it's nice to see that when someone else maybe isn't on, that someone else is, and so she's picked up a little bit of that slack, but a great utility player, emotional player, positive player. Des may be our most improved player for year over year, and I'm very happy for her.
Into the Glenville game then, and speaking of players that can find an end product, and Kat Smith scored within 2 minutes of the game off the corner kick and is now the second leading goal scorer on the team from a right-sided center back position, but thought that it was going to set the tone for the game and getting the early lead, but Glenville, give a lot of credit to them. They made the game scrappy and really mucked it up and everything and didn't give us very many chances, but what was the mentality of the team to just kind of keep pressing and trying to find something going?
So, of course, senior day, emotional. I think that's a big part of it, of course, is we want to put on a good show for the friends and family on senior night. And I think that created a little bit of internal pressure maybe on us. The early goal takes that pressure back off. But it was a mess. The conditions were a mess. We were kind of a mess, frankly, as a team. And what our game requires is for us to have some composure and some confidence and really play. We want to put the ball down and we want to play. And when we play, physically disruptive teams like Glenville was, you're correct about that. Credit to them. They came here to work hard and they did. We weren't really clicking on very many cylinders. And so as a coach, you're just trying to keep your cool and really be an analyst and kind of figure out where's the matchup we like, what's the right mix of players. We got to use the bench. And so we had some terrific performances, from Kayla Robinson. Obviously, Morgan Rizak earns the PK. Hannah Claggett did well with her minutes. Jamie, Sui. So we had some players that really did step up and were pretty calm, especially some of the younger players. So it's an interesting opportunity, right? If one, lane isn't on, hopefully the other lane is, and we can figure out a path,
You spoke about composure, and we did talk again with Leila earlier about stepping up for that PK. And one thing that I noticed for her was she just seemed confident when she went and immediately grabbed the ball, put it down herself, and never looked like she was going to waver or any lack of confidence, and putting that PK away for the 2-0 lead. And then Des, as you mentioned, the composure to score her goal, really just in the right moments, having the right head on and being able to put the team ahead when, some other areas were dropping a bit.
So on the PK, we have 4 or 5 players who are consistently willing and able to take a real precise PK. And that's all you need, really. I mean, maybe you need 10. I mean, we've had some long shootouts before. But at this stage in the season, we kind of know who they are. And some of them have been a little bit inconsistent, a little more inconsistent than we would like. But Leila's in that mix, and she's one of them. And so it was just kind of her turn, frankly. And I'm glad she smacked it in, and she does strike a ball very cleanly, as she's a little deceptive with her run-up. So I expected that ball to go in. It is kind of like an 80% thing statistically, so not for us right now, but I'm very happy for her. She was also one of the calmer, more precise players who was able to collect the ball and escape pressure and kind of do what she wanted. in that game. So it was good to reward her with that PK. And Des Mortimer, again, just a matter of time before she cashes in. Got a little toe poke, pass from Kayla Robinson, and she just collected it and hit the open side netting. So, that's going to happen more often, and she's going to be fine. She's going to cash in, and Leela is one of those kind of quiet, confident players on our team who just gets it done. So very, very happy for both of them.
Another big week coming up for you guys, and a rematch on Wednesday with the last year's 2 championship game teams, a road game against Concord, and haven't exactly had results go their way this year, but we know how talented they are. And then on the weekend against Wheeling as well, who's picked up some pretty good results for themselves after, maybe getting humbled at home by us for the first time, but a couple of tough games. Going to speak mainly about the game on Wednesday, and, with mentioning that Concord has had a few losses that they're not used to, but we know that they're going to bring a lot of talent and energy to the field, and it's going to be a really tough game for us.
Obviously, when you get that ranking and you have that gaudy kind of record that we have, it just makes the target on our back bigger and bigger. We're a big game for everybody, and now we're a big game for Concord, who, as you said, is struggling a little bit, certainly compared to last year. They have talent. They're well coached. I mean, we've scouted them and seen the video. They try a lot of different things in terms of their tactics. So they'll do what they think is best for us, and I expect it to be a great game. We're looking forward to this run of games because, we haven't played the best South teams yet, and we're about to play 3 or 4 of them coming up, and expect some really good games. Wesleyan was one of them from the South. Obviously, Concord is another for different reasons, but it's going to be a great game. I mean, we need some tests, and they're going to be testing us, and we look forward to it.
Well, we really appreciate your time here coming on to talk to us. We always appreciate your time and the amount that you're willing to speak to us. But congratulations on your couple of wins, and we're hoping to keep the shutout streak going and the win streak going so far.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, of course, but we literally are taking every game one at a time and are excited to be in a good part of our schedule where we get to play some really important games against some of the better teams in the conference, and we'll see how it goes. But always appreciate your coverage.
All right, well, next up, we'll continue with our soccer train as Zach Harpel from men's soccer is our Male Athlete of the Week, so be sure to stay tuned for the end of the interview. Wrapping up our sports awards this week is Zach Harpel from men's soccer after he scored his first goal of the season as the team got a pair of 1-1 draws against West Virginia Wesleyan and Shepherd. Zach, a bit of an improvement this week for you guys in getting some results. How would you rate your performance? How would you rate the teams?
Right, I think we're getting a lot better together as a team, but definitely blending a lot more on the offensive side. Defense has always been playing well. Didn't get the results we wanted a couple weeks back-to-back. Losses, haven't had a wins a couple times, but finally getting some goals around here, 1-1 draws. I think my performance is still pretty constant. Just scored my first goal against Shepherd, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Other than that, I think the team is really starting to get the chemistry back together. New coach Phillips getting the tactics well. Got a new formation, 3-5-2 going, and we're just looking to keep going forward with next week's games.
It has certainly seemed with improvement, and even before this past week, it started with just a 1-0 loss over Davis and Elkins, who just became the #1 team in the country, really held it together and really frustrated them back at their place. Now we get into this week, and 2 very different style teams. Of Wesleyan was a little bit more possession focused, trying to play out the back, and Shepherd just sort of a long ball hope and try to play out, but we really kept possession. What was the differences in playing each of those teams and how you had to prepare for them?
Right, so we were able to watch the Wesleyan scout a little bit more because they're in our conference. We were able to saw them play against Davis and Elkins and AB and Charles and stuff like that. So we were able to kind of match their play style, find out what their key points were, and able to counterattack them kind of better. And Shepherd is an out-of-conference game, so we didn't really focus too much on that. Just try to play our game, get some subs in. Like you said, keep the possession. We also had 25 shots is our season high. So that was a good point about the game there. Shepherd was also in the rain, so not much you can do about that. The weather wasn't too good. But yeah, so Wesleyan home, our field's a little bit more narrow than everybody else's, so it was kind of a benefit in our factor there. But other than that, I think watching the film and being able to match their formation against Wesleyan was a lot more beneficial. Even though it was a 1-1 tie with that PK that we gave up unluckily, I think it's better than a loss, you know what I'm saying?
Certainly, and you look at, coming off of 5 straight losses, just getting a little bit of the confidence back and then trying to take it into more wins, like you said earlier. For you personally, getting your first goal of the season and getting the 1-0 lead against Shepherd, a pretty nice little touch and finish for you after being played in. What was going through your head and your emotions after finally getting on the board and getting one off this season?
Yeah, longer than I expected. Last year I scored a couple games in, but I'm happy to get on the score sheet this year. Unfortunately, not in conference or win. But I did have a little cheeky chip, good run. I honestly didn't think I was getting to the ball. That's why it was a chip. But, yeah, I'm stoked about that, hoping to get some more on the stat sheet, whether it's assists or goal, because we are lacking on that department there on the offense this year. Even though we're getting a lot of shots, possession, and all that stuff, the goals just aren't coming. So I'm hoping we can really improve that with the last 7 games of the season.
You've also been playing a lot of minutes yourself and second on the team behind Matt Garrett. In that midfield spot where you're kind of holding it down and working in sort of a midfield unit 3 is, the formation shift hasn't entirely affected you in your position, but certainly the team. How have you been managing, playing such a high level of minutes in such a role where you've got to be running the entire game and managing your fitness and well-being the entire time?
Yeah, so balancing that is definitely hard to do, but you'll find it come. Sometimes in the game, you'll see me taking a little bit of breaks on defense, not pushing all the way up the field, stuff like that. Definitely hitting the ice bath a lot on the off days and getting the foam roller is key. But I do get sore every here and there, whether it's the weight room stuff or just running around in the midfield because of my figure, stuff like that. So other than that, I don't know. Playing a lot of minutes, I'm kind of used to that, whether it's with high school or with club. And then coming here, I was able to kind of balance that out a little bit better because I was used to it already. Just been stretching and keeping loose, trying to keep the body healthy. Luckily, no injuries, so cross my fingers, keep that healthy.
Couple of big games coming up for you guys this week and looking to get back into the MAC playoff picture. Just the 1 win in conference so far, but certainly a great chance starting on Wednesday against Concord on the road. A little bit of an early game for you guys and what you're used to with the long drive, but what's the mentality of the team now, sort of getting back into the groove of finding results and trying to get wins, of taking it 1 game at a time, where teams you feel like now you can compete with anyone in the conference at this point?
So I think after the Charleston game, it really woke us up because we went up 1-0 against them. Didn't get the result we wanted, but a goal against Charleston was huge for us. And then D&E, right, 1-0 win after or 1-0 loss after they're number 1 in the country. So I think it was kind of more of a wake-up call, even though we were all locked in, ready for playoffs. Even though it's disappointing with 1 win in the conference, I think this next stretch of games, they are about our level. So they're all going to be really good games, but I'm hoping we come out on the better side here with the team. Like I said, the chemistry is getting better. Just need to put some in. The results are hopefully coming on our side this year.
Well, really appreciate your time here. Congratulations on getting your first goal and taking the time to talk to us in between your classes and practices and all that, and a long road trip to Concord, as we mentioned. But thank you once again for being here.
Of course, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that wraps up this week. Be sure to tune in next week as well, as we'll be back with another coach and another pair of athletes. As always, go Bobcats.